This one is APOMETRY in practice. This book is a kind of ask question and answers about any doubt concerned to APOMETRY and the work of APOMETRY. That's the book itself. And it is based on a day-to-day practice of APOMETRY with treatment and from different disorders. Spirit disorder, animistic disorder, and behavioral disorder. That Godinho considers the basis of everything. That's the first book. We'll talk a little bit about that, about one thing, one question and answer that is on this book, which is the question. Who answered the question? The question was made by Godinho, and the answer came from one of his mentors. All right? Now, what is the question? How is the process of compulsory incarnation? That's the subject of today, compulsory incarnation. What is that? Compulsory incarnation is when you come, and you must come to do something that you cannot refuse. Compulsory incarnation is when you don't choose, oh, I don't want this because of this. No, you come anyway. And when does that happen? It happens when the spirit has too many mistakes done in previous incarnations. And it happens to many people. Like, for example, the spirit violated the natural law a million times. The spirit has many marks on it, because anything evil we do against others or against ourselves, it will appear as spots, black spots, marks. And the spirit is full of them and needs to cleanse. And what else? Have made too many victims. And the perispirit of the person, when the person is incarnated, is in need for help. But what are the kinds of compulsory incarnation? There are two kinds of. One is when you will be with your physical body normal, or mental body, mentally, emotionally, and physically you are stable. But you come with a mission of serving those you made victims, you hurt before. In other words, you are like, you come in a regular way to help through your family. You will have a big family or family with different generation, but you will help them, educate them, support them with your sacrifice and love. You will be the head of the family, no matter if you are a woman or a man. But you will support, will suffer, because you are receiving on your household your enemies, people and spirits you hurt. People before when they were incarnate. And in a new incarnation, those you hurt, you receive them. So it will not be easy, but with your sacrifice and love, you will handle it, because you will have help from all of those who are helping you and them, to make it love, to erase all the debts from the past. That's one way. The other way is to receive them through a company. Let's say you will be the owner of a big business, no matter what kind of business, and you will receive those you hurt before, those victims, and you receive to give them support with a job, And on a second hand, or on a second order, you help their family. So all of them, through their family, the families of your employees, and those employees you receive, you will help them, support them with the rights, school, education, job, and don't believe it will be easy. No, it will not be easy. They will do everything against you they possibly can. Why? Because they are your enemies. But there is a way. That's the way you have, another way you have to help them in order to erase your marks, your own mistakes. Now, with one thing, this kind of incarnation, you don't know what will happen to you. Because in a regular incarnation, when you want or you ask for, or everything is set, or your mentors choose that for you, everything will be in a regular way, in a kind of 1 minute or so before the conception. The parents will know what will happen and the program of the future. And on time of conception, exactly on time, or maybe a couple of seconds after, like in this way, the spirit who will incarnate knows about the future. Let's say that the father killed that spirit in another lifetime. So that moment, the spirit will know that who is receiving him or her will be the guy who killed him. That's the regular. But in this regular way, what happens? Many times, and it is not rare, many times the spirit who will incarnate is afraid of what will happen, because the spirit knows. So the spirit itself will do everything in its power to refuse that incarnation in order to release himself or the pain. What will happen? Abortion. The spirit itself will do everything to abort itself. Or the parents. The parents know about what will happen. And there will be many thoughts from mother, from the father, especially from the mother who carries the fetus. So the mother can just say, no, I don't want it. Or get influenced by the spirit's enemies or many other kind of things. And I don't want this because, make abortion. But you know. You will pay for that? You will. The spirit will pay for that for have done an abortion? Yes, but they know. Now, on a compulsory incarnation, they don't know. They don't know what will happen. In this kind of compulsory incarnation, this one I have just said to you, the person will be totally normal in order to help the others. But the spirit will not know who are those it will be with. Who the parents will be, who will be all the others he or she will support. The spirit doesn't know anything about them, has no idea of who they are. Otherwise they can refuse, or I don't want to be with this guy, or something else, to avoid suffering. Little by little, the spirit, once incarnated, little by little will know. The other way that irregular body and mental and emotional will be is when the spirit is on the program, that the spirit will be a medium. That's the third way to help. So as a medium, the spirit will help those he made victims, those he hurt in the past, or many others that have nothing to do with him or her. But the spirit, once incarnated, she or he will help the others. By helping the others, he or she will have the suffering diminished. So one hand washing the other. That's the another way. But the person will be normal. Now, the other way to have compulsory incarnation is when you are the spiritual. The spirit is okay, but the incarnation, the physical body, will be mentally or emotionally or physically disabled with many disabilities. Sometimes with disabilities, physical, mental, and emotional. Remember Helen Keller? Totally handicapped. You do remember her. Could not speak, could not see, could not hear. And many others cannot walk, are blind, cannot hear. It depends. Or mentally retarded. But that's another kind of compulsory incarnation. And it happens when the spirit owes too much, has many, many debts, and not easy ones, and needs to cleanse all of them, or maybe a part of them. That's why it's called compulsory incarnation. You cannot just be there and keep all these marks on you and refuse to come here. You will suffer because you have done for that. It was your own actions who brought you to that situation. And that is something else. Many people, when in an incarnation, they do a lot of evil against the country, against their parents, against any other. Other than that, when they go to the spiritual world, they continue doing the same to those he or she doesn't like. As a spirit, they do even worse. So they bother while they are incarnating, they bother while they are in the spiritual world, in between incarnations. Sometimes this period between incarnation takes like 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, 100 years, it depends. So it's a long time for the spirit to do a lot of evil against others. The spirit who will be disabled will be prepared carefully with love, will be born like numbed. When the spirit comes to the physical world, it will be like totally unconscious, especially if the spirit is mentally retarded. So little by little, the spirit itself will understand. And that is one thing I want to tell you, and I believe I have told you that before. When you help a child with retardedness, for example, this kind of problems, the child itself or the person, the patient, doesn't know what he's doing. But when you bring the spirit, because the patient is the physical incarnation, the physical personality, but when you bring the spirit or the soul of the patient, even if the patient is retarded, you bring the soul, it will speak clearly. Clearly. There is no disease in the spirit. The spirit is releasing the diseases because of the bad actions made before. But the spirit itself will speak perfectly. And it was, I think I remember now I have spoken to you about that. It was an example from Dr. Lacerda, not from Godinho. It was this girl who was with Down syndrome and was mistreated by the mother. And the father brought to the spirit, the APOMETRY treatment. And the spirit of the girl spoke clearly. It was in a mission. So even if the spirit, if the physical personality is disabled, the spirit is not. Now, okay. Now I want to talk to you about an example of Godinho, that during the many incarnations, it has a compulsory incarnation with the retardedness. It was the family who brought the woman there. And let's talk about that. This woman was at that time 47 years old lady. Is still living with the family, and the family could not stand her any longer because she was a very difficult one. What was the problem of that woman? The patient. The patient was diagnosed for 30 years with depression, deep depression, and schizophrenia. That was the matter. She was 15 years old when the depression started, and it was even worse each day, every day. And she was being under medication for depression and to help with the schizophrenia for many years. The patient, when was brought to J.S. Godinho, was 47 years, and everything started when she was 15. Now, who brought her? Because she was a very, very difficult one. Who brought her? A sister. What did the sister say? We cannot stand her any longer. She is very difficult. She complains about everything. She complains about the family. She hates being incarnated. She always is mad at others. She's shrewish. She fights against others, no matter who the person is, for no reason. There is no reason for that. What else? She smokes too much. She doesn't respect anyone. She doesn't want to work, never did. She doesn't want to cooperate with anything. And that's why I brought her in here, that for the last thing that I thought could help, because she's not easy. Now, before I go on with that, I want to tell you one thing. And it is on the material, in the material of Godinho. When you do an incarnation, and I believe it is on this book. Yes, it is on this. When you get prepared for an incarnation, the Department of Incarnation will bring, during the process of your pre-incarnation, the Department of Incarnation will bring all of those who will be related to the spirit who will be incarnated. It is meticulously done. Like the parents, you get prepared, the parents and the spirit, and those who will be with the new one, sister, brothers, and nobody is together for no reason. Everybody has, when you meet anyone, there is a reason for that. Sometimes the reason is only love, for one to support the other or together to support somebody. But most of the time, the reason is based on evil done, on bad actions, most of the time, because of the law of cause and effect and the law of return. No matter what you do, it will come back to you anyway. Now, the family, is not easy for a family to have an schizophrenic and so forth, but that's what it is. Everyone is prepared for that. Now, let's see what happened to this lady. This lady, first of all, she was not able, with all the matters, she was not able to help others through a company or through receiving them through the family, her family. But she came with the mediumship totally set for her to work for others and minimize her own matters. By working as a medium to others, she would work for herself and make all of those personalities and spiritual obsession make them better. But guess what? She refused terminantly to develop mediumship or to work as a medium or to help others. She refused to collaborate with anything. There was no cooperation on her mind. She did not want to work, she did not want to cooperate, she did not want to be a medium, she did not want treatment, she did not want anything. She complained about her family, about everything. Now, that's why so many problems came to her, because the program she had to help the others, and that's why it was a compulsory incarnation with all of those problems she refused. Let's see the kind of rebellious multiple personality she had and came to treatment through mediums, because it was with APOMETRY. And with APOMETRY, the mediums will incorporate the personalities. Incorporation is the same thing as embodiment. I prefer to say incorporation because it incorpore, Latin name, very well done and very used in a spiritual issue. But many people say embodiment. I prefer to say incorporation. So this personality that came through a medium fought back, did not want the treatment, was fighting the treatment back like crazy, hated the fact she was incarnate. The personality did not accept the fact that the spirit was incarnate and there was a physical personality. That one believed was living in that life and did not want to accept the life of this lady, which was herself in another right now, and she was in another time, and she was attached to that time and did not want to understand that was herself, her own spirit incarnated again. What else? This personality was always trying to do something to kill her, to kill the physical personality, because she was fighting against her own life. She did not want the personality, physical personality, to live. That's not what I want for you. And it's very common when you start suffering for something that you don't understand, and you start having ideas of or thoughts of suicide and those kind of things. Sometimes it is personality you were in another lifetime who doesn't accept you the way you live your life, or doesn't accept a new life. Especially when in another lifetime you were very rich and important, influential person, and right now you are not that. Or you were very beautiful, a celebrity, a movie star, let's say, and now you are not as beautiful as you used to be, or you are not blue eyes, or so forth. Or you are not successful, you are poor, you are with a couple of things that you did not accept when you had that lifetime. So you start fighting your own life back because you don't like and you don't accept the physical personality. That's the beginning. What else? Reject the family, personality. That I'm not talking about only one. It's different personalities with those kind of behavior, attacking the physical personality. When you talk about schizophrenia means you lose yourself, the reason. You don't say yes or no to yourself. They come in and out. So you interact with different personality who are not easy and who doesn't want, or those who don't want to accept you the way you are. They fight against you, and they come in and out, and you lose that reason, that power that helps yourself. So you have to clean, you have to work and treat each one of them until you get better, or you start getting better. Those personalities were coming from her through different mediums. That's what Godinho does and learn and teaches. Multiple unfoldment takes many mediums to work at the same time, almost at the same time, simultaneously with the same patient. You incorporate in many different mediums personalities from one patient. What else? Rejected the mediumship personnel that did not want even talk about mediumship. And the lady was to be a medium. Reject work, personality that did not want to work, personality that did not want to cooperate at all. So all of those personalities came in one session through different mediums. That's one way that Godinho works, which means multiple unfoldment. That was done with this patient. So the patient herself was given trouble because she was spiritually and animistically sick and came into this lifetime to work through mediumship and go on with her life and clean herself, but she did not do. And now the family is the one who is helping her, trying to help her. Let's see the next time she went, is still with the family. Let's see what happened. That time was, again, unfoldment and treatment of personality. Dissociated and more rebellious personality. She had much more rebellious personalities and dissociated from her block of conscience, against her, in other words. Let's start with this. Guilty complex. Personality with guilty complex. What did this personality do? Killed her own son. Killed the own son, newborn son, with a knife. That personality, who was dissociated, but in resonance with her, and she was in resonance with that personality, was remorseful because during the time she was incarnated, she or he did not see if it was he or she. That personality killed their own son, newborn son, with a knife. So she was attacking this lady also. Another one, blocked, self-blocked. You know that you can block yourself in many ways, especially when you don't have control over your mind. You block a lot of things in your life. That was another personality. Refused any kind of work, refused any kind of cooperation, full of pain on her body. You know, when you, during a lifetime, you refuse to work, you refuse to learn, you refuse to cooperate, what will happen to you? You don't make the energy flows through you. You block the energy that come in and out through our chakras. What happens? It will be negative on you because there is no flow of energy. You block them. So if you don't want to work, if you don't want to cooperate, if you don't want any kind of cooperation, it will be pain for you. It will be problem for you and for others, of course. And what you cause to others, you receive back on your own life. Body, mind, so forth. Another personality, refused to help others through mediumship. So we see that during many incarnations, she was having almost the same kind of behavior for many incarnations, because I have talked to you about many personalities that came to treatment. Most of them refused to work, refused to cooperate, and now one that refused to serve others as medium. So that's why this lady could not do much, because the personalities were coming in and out, and she was not handling that. Or at least she did not try, or we don't know. Other personalities, victim. You know, the people who are victim, during the lifetime, you see many people who feel themselves they are a victim. Actually, there is no victim at all. But many people feel, or they create pain, hypochondriac, and they feel everybody does things for me. I don't do things for anyone. I'm good and great. When most of the time is the contrary. So another personality that came to treatment to see the reality. The treatment in here was to make them understand the reality. Let's see the other one. Woman with a sexual polarity inversion, addicted to smoke. She was a woman but acting as a man, and smoked too much, vice, and addicted to smoke. She was acting as a man in many senses, including smoking, because you know from the beginning men used to smoke much more than women. But this one, other than that, she smoked too much and was having behavior of a man. So it was a sexual polarity inversion, and this was also treated because it was reverted. What else? Let's see other sessions, different personality. What else came from that woman? There were many other personalities addicted to smoke. There were rebellious, also more rebellious personality with difficult background and behavior vices. Those, again, with the vice of, I don't want to work, I don't want to cooperate, I don't want to do anything. Because this is vice of behavior. And most importantly, we are talking about many sessions now. Obsessed, personalities obsessed, or in process of obsession. Those obsessed in process of symbiosis, a kind of obsession, and shared obsession. What is that? Symbiosis is when your will is involved. So, and shared obsession is when personalities get together with the spirit obsessors. The personalities get together with them on that shared obsession because they want it. They want to. So, as it involves will, her own will or their own will, it means process of symbiosis. So let's see what you see from the shared obsession from the same patient. We are all talking about the same patient. Let's see. Personality addicted to disease, but personality who during a lifetime was always hypochondriac. I am sick. As we see right now around us, we see people like that. Disease, this is a kind of behavioral disease. They are addicted to be sick. In other words, to get attention, or to get people to pity them, or in other words, better yet, not to work, not to cooperate. I am sick so that I cannot work. I'm sick so that I cannot cooperate. And they live the entire life through the benesses of the government, through the benefit of their family will sacrifice, government, and everyone. But they don't want, they refuse. So when the person die, when the person or the group of people die, guess what? The personalities will be with the same kind of behavior. Just because they died, it doesn't mean the behavior is vanished. They will continue with the behavior. So this personality, this kind, it was not one, only one. Personality with addicted to disease. Personalities to avoid work, to avoid cooperate. Other personalities that came to treatment. Personality who was railroad burglar. In one of the lifetimes, she was a burglar. It was a man, and he used to steal, to go to the railroads to get something. Did not want to work. You want to make money, but not to work. What else? Personality rooted in the mud of the lower astral world. It happens for remorse. When somebody did so many evil things against others, or like kill its son, for example, as she did before, when the person dies, the remorse will be too much, and easily they will go to the worst kind of places, and they want to be there to punish themselves. So she was in the mud of the lower astral world for remorse. Evil things done. What else? Personality hypnotizer or sorcerer. She was a witch. This case was a witch. No, she was a black magic sorcerer, hypnotizer. That was. It doesn't say. I think it was a man. She was a man with that power. So there were personalities together with the spirits, sorcerers, and acting together with them, because this block is of shared personalities in process of symbiosis and a shared obsession. It was a process of obsession with symbiosis and shared. What else? Personality who was scientist and spent time of his life searching brains of people in order to harm them. She had that kind of personality that came also to treatment. It was a man, scientist, studied a lot, had all the opportunity to study, but instead of doing good things, he was a researcher to find different brains and harm people. What else? It came to treatment also. It was, according to Godinho, that's an observation of Godinho, it was a very difficult, the patient was a very difficult prognostic. He had to, all those personality I spoke to you about came from the same lady, 47 years, but she was not totally healed. As schizophrenia, you don't heal from one day to the other. It is a process of treatment. Sometimes gets the entire incarnation. Sometimes it depends from person to person. But on this time, he was already working with APOMETRY and past life therapy, because she was already cooperating a little with the treatment. Let's see what else. Her case, according to Godinho, her case was with the spiritual disease, animistic disease, and behavioral, and it was not easy. The first part of the treatment was done, and it was given a time to see all the results. So 6 months passed by, and she came back alone, without need for somebody to bring her. And she was the one who said to Godinho herself, let's see what did she say 6 months later. He found that 50% of the symptoms had disappeared. Now, she said she was much more calm and with better behavior. Was going to a spirit house for treatment once a week. And she was with, but she was still with a weird behavior, and she would like to see that. And the weird behavior, she said, through people, because it was those who told her, and she told him, and what was going on. It was kind of being a child. She said for no reason she was acting like an infant, very little child. She was with that. Sometimes, it was not always, but she had that. And Godinho came again to another session. Let's see what happened, because she was much better, willing to cooperate. However, she had other matters, especially this one, that she herself said. Let's see, what was that behavior connected to? It was connected to a personality that came was a witch. She used to be a witch in another life. And what did she do? Sacrificed children. During her lifetime, she sacrificed, killed children for some kind of religious or something, sacrifice of children. And what happened to her when she died? She went to the worst kind of lower astral world with a lot of problems and suffering, and stayed in there for a long time. This personality suffered to hell. She tried new opportunity for a new incarnation where she could make it better, but every single time everything was prepared for her to have a new lifetime. That was an abortion. Because, you know, in a regular incarnation, when the parents know what will happen, or the kind of spirit, and sometimes they get very nervous, unconsciously, and they abort. But she was aborted many times, could not come. Then there was a compulsory incarnation. She came with retardedness, and the family accepted. It was an incarnation before the incarnation of the patient right now, on this present lifetime. She lived a long time, many years, with mentally retarded, and died, was much better, but much better. Why she was much better? Because it was a period of time where she was not together with the personalities. But it doesn't mean the personalities were treated. The personalities started being treated this lifetime. Now, finally, after that, after the compulsory incarnation of retardedness, she came as this lady who was 47 when went to treatment. So, this lifetime, we have everything to understand and believe that it was also a compulsory incarnation for the suffering itself, with the mission of being a medium. Regular body, she is not mentally disabled, but as she did not cooperate with mediumship, then she started having all the matters, and was affected through schizophrenia and deep depression. So could not do much. Let's see what Godinho says. That's the words of Godinho. We have observed that psychopathology, mostly known as depression, in reality is based on at least 50 different symptoms and different roots with a different experience and background. It is not something to be treated with one medicine. The medicine for deep depression and schizophrenia helps, yes. And he is the one who says we work with medication. So the patient should have the medication from her or his psychiatrist, psychologist. And we do work with APOMETRY through mediums and past life therapy until we help or try to help, because we have to work through the different personalities. Each one of them carries something. So the 50 or so symptoms come from different personalities. Each one of them lived different situations with behavior, difficult behavior. So it will not be totally resolved only with medicine. It needs much more. And he has many years of experience on the matter. Depression, according to him, most of the time comes from spiritual obsession, animistic, or spirit disease, which means spiritual obsession, animistic disease, which means self-obsession, personalities, and behavioral vices. So depression are together with all the kind of things. That's why we need, according to him, we need the medication to help in one sense, and the other ways in order to have the case released. What else? The patient continued the treatment for more time. He said, and he explained that he would not promise that it would be completed soon. He could see shadows around, and she had to cooperate a lot because she was already 47 when she started. So, but he was seeing progress. He could see progress. And when it comes to schizophrenia, he says that the mentors have advised many times, not only one time, that many spirits will incarnate on the planet, no matter where the point is or the country, it doesn't matter. Many spirits will come with this schizophrenia. The important thing is to treat, to get what is causing the problem and treat properly the disease of each one personality. What kind of personality? Behavior of the personality, together with the patient, the physical personality, and treat each one of them through APOMETRY, through multiple unfoldment, past life therapy, and treat each one of them on a spirit, the disease that come from the spirit, disease that come from the animism, comes from self-obsession, which means personalities, and treat them with the medication if it is the case, then it will be much better. In this case of schizophrenia, both Dr. Lacerda and J.S. Godinho, they have successfully resolved or helped many patients. They say that it's not easy, and not all of them are with a positive prognostic. But most of them, especially if they want to help themselves, it is positive. Dr. Lacerda had patients who came with schizophrenia when they were young and they got totally healed. And others that were helping themselves along the way, and many others that gave up, and the family gave up. So it is not easy, but it is possible. And that's what he said. It is an example of this book with names and everything. The patient is much, much better because she went for the spiritual treatment and spiritual treatment with J.S. Godinho, APOMETRY, past life regression, and taking medication. And she was helping the family with her own matter, because before she wasn't. If you are on the second level of compulsory incarnation, like with mental, emotional, and body disabilities, it is on the dependence of the parents. But the process of living is the process of healing. Anyway, it resolves, it helps.